Hi, I'm Amar Rizvi. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for iMile Delivery. iMile is a last mile e-commerce focused delivery company founded here in Dubai. I joined the company last year as the Chief Strategy Officer.
So iMile has shown remarkable growth since its inception in 2017. What are the key strategies or initiatives that you are rolling out moving forward to sustain this growth for the company?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we are a derivative of the e-commerce industry. So our focus is e-commerce delivery, and being a derivative of the e-commerce delivery, we've benefited from the secular tailwinds in the e-commerce space, particularly as I think about markets like the Middle East, which are fast growing, and Latin America, where we're present. As e-commerce continues to grow, the demand will always be there for delivery companies like ours. But it's never that easy. We've worked very hard to be in the position we're in. E-commerce delivery is a space where efficiency, technology, talent is super important. And we focus on a lot of that to essentially capture the growth, capture the clients, and capture the volumes that keep us growing.
And over the past few years, especially because of, for example, COVID-19, have you seen an acceleration in the e-commerce boom in the Middle East?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a global boom in e-commerce that was obviously accelerated during the pandemic when everything went online. What we're seeing more recently is more of a return to normalization. So there was obviously this spike you got in 2021, 22. 23, we saw a little bit of a normalization back to trend. But that being said, e-commerce is here to stay, whether that's in food or grocery or shopping. I think that's going to continue. And I think in this region in particular, just given the younger population, the economic boom and social boom that we're seeing, the consumerism, I think in this region in particular, e-commerce will continue to grow.
What are the main market segments that iMile operates in the region? Just to give an outline.
Sure. Look, we have a pretty simple business model in that sense. We cater to e-commerce only, so we don't get into food, we don't get into deliveries, we don't groceries, we don't get into urgent letters. We're focused on e-commerce parcels. And within the e-commerce space, we have both domestic clients, but we also focus a lot on cross-border e-commerce. So clients out of Asia, for example, where a lot of volumes are coming into the Middle East and Latin America, we cater a lot to that cross-border, and we're set up to facilitate cross-border e-commerce.
With that cross-border e-commerce, is there any regulatory requirements or any difficulties you've encountered in that sense?
No, not in particular. Obviously, like most sectors, this is a regulated sector. So whether it's the RTA or Emirates Post, we need to be licensed as a courier service company. Obviously, we employ drivers, warehouse staff, so they all need to be trained. There's certain SOPs we need to follow, but there's no sort of onerous regulatory burdens as such.
Okay. Obviously, iMile was founded in Dubai. How have these local origins influenced the company and the company's plans for future growth?
Sure. Look, we've been privileged and have benefited from being founded here in Dubai. Whether it's things like ease of doing business, hiring the best talent, benefiting from the tech ecosystem that we have around us, that's really helped in our journey to date. And I think more specifically, and I guess more fundamentally, because the business grew up in the Middle East, it really started off trying to solve certain local pain points in the delivery space in the Middle East. And I'm talking about things like, lack of a formal address system, which would make the delivery process quite frustrating for customers. We tried to tackle that. There's a high propensity towards cash on delivery, which you don't see in most other parts of the world. So again, we had to sort of build our business to cater to those particular pain points. And I think that allowed us to really get our bases covered to do well here, and then we've been able to export that model and do well in other markets as well.
And when you speak about that issue with the address, how has the company addressed that?
Sure.
What have you done to kind of make that easier for deliveries and e-commerce companies here?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, a lot of our technology was built, and it's all built in-house, was built to cater to solving these sort of problems. So we use geofencing technologies. We use route optimization that uses machine learning, for example. So our system is able to chart out the best route for our drivers to take, and it has machine learning running through it based on, time of day, traffic, any events that are going on, and just charts out the best route for our drivers to A, minimize delivery time, and B, make it maximum efficiency and least miles driven and least carbons burnt, if you take it that way.
Yeah, of course. And when it comes to machine learning and AI that you're using in the company, do you see that there's room for innovation there moving forward?
Yeah, look, innovation is a very important topic, frankly, in any industry, and ours is no different. And usually, when you talk about tech and innovation in the delivery space or last mile delivery space, people's minds normally go to autonomous vehicles or drones or robots and things like that. That's all well and good, but there's actually a very fundamental technology that's, I'd argue, more important when you talk about the delivery space, because if you're a company like ours and you're handling millions of deliveries a day globally, your basic tech stack needs to be robust, scalable, adaptable, and that's all easier said than done. So we've built all of our tech stack in-house and we maintain it in-house. So we have full control over the stack. We can adapt it to new markets, to new products, to new situations. And that's, I think, a part of the technology that's often overlooked when we think about delivery companies. But without that, there's no way you get the size and scale that we've achieved without things starting to fall apart. So, touch wood, our tech has proven itself not just in a single market, but in the region and now into multiple regions, multiple continents.
And you mentioned there, for example, drone technology or e-vehicles, for example.
Yes.
How feasible do you see these being in the next couple of years here in the Middle East?
When it comes to drones and delivery robots, etc., I think there will be a time and a place. I'm not quite sure where they're yet today, at least not in the Middle East. I know there's drone deliveries happening in certain remote areas due to necessity reasons.
Yeah.
Here, I think it will come, but I don't think the time is now. EVs, I think, are a more near-term phenomena because there are tangible benefits to EVs, both from an environmental perspective, but also over the medium to long run from a cost perspective. It's cheaper to run an EV versus, a combustion engine. That being said, we also have to take into account the sort of external factors. So does the charging network exist in the city or the country to the extent you need it? What you don't want is your drivers to have range anxiety and not be able to make deliveries and actually bring down their efficiency.
Yeah.
So we are experimenting in the EV space ourselves, as I'm sure are others as well. One other thing we need to take into account when you think about the Middle East in particular is the summer temperatures, right? So commercial EVs need to be approved by the authorities before they're put into place. So I think it is happening gradually. The payoff, I think, will be over time, but it's something we as well as others are looking into. I think EVs are inevitable. It's a question of when, not if.
Okay, yeah, and staying on the topic of sustainability then, are there any other initiatives iMile are focusing on right now to kind of boost their green and eco-friendliness in the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we want to be a socially responsible company. There are some sort of ESG or environmental factors that are built into our business model. So as I was mentioning, things like route optimization to ensure that drivers are on the road for the minimum possible amount of time. It's great for us as a business from a cost perspective, but it's also great for the environment because there are fewer miles being driven. So that's already embedded within the business and in how we run it. But there are several initiatives that we've launched. So recycling is very important for us. Obviously, just given the number of cartons and cardboards that are involved in the sort of global e-commerce industry.
Yeah.
We make it a point to recycle those where looking at biodegradable pouches for the deliveries that come from iMile. We'd want those pouches. Again, there's thousands and millions that get used, so we're moving towards biodegradable ones. They obviously cost a bit more, but obviously better for the environment.
Yeah.
And then of course, electric vehicles are also sort of high on our list of, technologies and innovations that we want to explore if it makes sense.
moving forward then into the future, what are the key markets for iMile? Where are you expanding to? Is it regional based only, or are you going global with that expansion as well?
Sure, absolutely. Look, we were founded about 7 years ago in 2017. The initial years were more about consolidating in our two key markets, which were UAE and Saudi. It was only around 2021, particularly with the e-commerce boom and the pandemic, that we started to look sort of beyond these two countries. Today, we are in 15 countries around the world, 8 of them here in the Middle East, which are the 6 GCC countries, plus Jordan and Lebanon. We've gone into Latin America as well, particularly into Mexico and Brazil. And then last year, we expanded into a few new markets, including Australia, South Africa, Turkey, and Poland. So now effectively we're in 6 continents across this map. And I think with the e-commerce growth that we continue to see with the global clients that we're serving that want us to serve them in newer markets, I think that growth trajectory and expansion will continue. Obviously, it's measured. We're still a startup. We don't have severely deep pockets, so we have to be careful about which markets we go in. We study very carefully the macro and e-commerce trends in those markets, the competitive landscape, and frankly, where we think we can actually add value and not just make up numbers. So I think you will see us go into several new markets this year, including into additional markets in Europe and potentially Southeast Asia. And eventually we want to have a global cross-continental network.
Okay, and have there been any cultural challenges with moving into these new markets? You mentioned South America, Europe, pretty much globally. So where have those challenges come across?
Yeah, look, there's always challenges going to new markets, and for us, I think Mexico was a real pivotal moment because we left the comforts of the Middle East, and I appreciate Middle East we're in 8 different markets here, different cultures, different currencies, different macro picture, but there is an sort of underlying similarity amongst these adjacent markets in the Middle East. Going into Mexico was I guess a real leap of faith, but we had belief in our business model, and importantly we had belief in our talent and our technology. And yes, different currency, different language, different regulations, but we've done very well in Mexico, and that actually emboldened us to go into Brazil as well, another huge market. So yes, there are challenges in new markets, but I think as long as you have the right talent and the right technology in today's age, I think you're able to overcome any of these sort of differences from one market to the other.
And you mentioned Saudi Arabia being a key market, and obviously the growth and expansion there right now is exponential. Where do you see yourselves positioning in the e-commerce space in Saudi over the next coming years?
Sure. Look, the way we've grown over the last 7 or so years, we believe we're already the largest e-commerce delivery company, third-party logistics company in the Middle East. Saudi, just given its size and its dynamics, is a crucial market for us. In fact, our regional headquarters are in Riyadh. So I think Saudi is and will continue to be a key market for us. We will continue to grow and expand along with our clients in that market. As I mentioned, I think the e-commerce secular tailwinds, we will continue to ride those, but we need to keep investing in talent, and we need to keep investing in technology, and we need to keep investing in innovation as well. So, things like today, most of the delivery in the Middle East and in Saudi is two-door delivery. But I can see a scenario where things like lockers, things like PUDOs, pick-up, drop-off spots, those sort of things do get introduced as customers evolve and their needs and demands evolve. So those are all areas that we want to explore, and if we feel that our customers and our clients are willing and accepting, we'd like to be right there in sort of these new innovations.
And with regards to partnerships, is that something that iMile actively looks to pursue with companies in other regions or other countries, that you can partner with them to kind of get a foothold into the market?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So, Rita, our founder and CEO, she is obsessed with customer service and just overall service quality. So as long as we feel we are in control of service quality in any partnership. We're very open to it. If we feel that our service may be impacted through a partnership, we tend to avoid those things. But yes, we're very open to partnerships, and in fact, we have this Channel Service Partner Program, CSP, where we team up with entrepreneurs or SMEs as our delivery partners. So if they have a fleet of vehicles and a small warehouse, we will essentially give them our technology, our volume, our training, and they can essentially become an extension of our delivery network. So we are actively partnering with SMEs and entrepreneurs in that space, where we're much better able to control the delivery experience and the service experience through our tech and through our training. As I've said, I think it's a very exciting space, e-commerce, and as long as e-commerce grows, companies like ours should continue to thrive. It's a competitive market. We need to stay on our toes. We're constantly striving for excellence and efficiency, and hopefully this is only the start of the journey.